here doing ministry in Bastion with this guy and Sianda, and I'm with my ministry partner Joe. Back there is awesome. Good to meet him. But anyways, I'm just going to talk to y'all about how God has changed my life. Basically, y'all's culture is a lot similar to ours, and so I grew up in a Christian home. I went to church every Sunday, but I was a pro at not listening to anything that the preacher said. I would draw on things, or my mom would slap my hand, and I'd be like, "What? I'm drawing a battle here on the program. What's wrong with that?" And so I would fall asleep, and she'd wake me up. And so somehow I made it 20 years in the church. I didn't even know what the gospel was. I didn't know why Jesus was important. I didn't know why I cared about that. And I was just a pro at not caring. And so I just checked Jesus out the door on Sunday. I didn't even pick him up really half the time. But I grew up in a house where if anyone mentioned God or Jesus, not on Sunday, it got weird quick. And it's like, can you talk to Justin or Ashton? They're talking about God. That needs to stop. And so Jesus was just kind of like a thought that I didn't pay any attention to. I just thought life was life, and it was hard, and that was it. And you die, and then you become dirt, I guess. And that was the end. And so, but I went to varsity, and I was never the popular kid or the cool kid in high school. And if you've all been there, that's all that matters, really, right? And so when I got to varsity, I got to make a new Ashton, and so I did. And I became the partying Ashton, the drinking Ashton. I would do anything to get you to like me more. If I had to drag someone through the mud, if I had to make fun of them just to get you to laugh, I did it. I didn't care. And so basically, I remember when I got to college and I was like, oh my gosh, this is real life. I gotta grow up. I just remember thinking that for some reason one day a thought of God came into my head, and I was just like, man, but I can't have fun in varsity and do what I want to do and be a Christian, because that's just boring. Look at these guys. That's stupid. They're losers. I don't want to be a part of that. So I remember thinking, God, I'm going to get mine while I'm in college, and then when I'm older and I'm boring, then I'll become a Christian, So I had this great plan in my head of how that was going to go down. Little did I know, a Christian who is actually in Campus Outreach, which is what you guys are at right now, if you didn't know that. He lived across the hall from me, and so he just watched me destroy myself for a year with drinking, sex, partying, and when I moved out freshman year and lived in a house with guys who encouraged all that too, he invited me to come to one of these meetings right here, and someone gave their testimony like I'm doing right now. And I just remember when someone went there, I was like, what the heck is a testimony? I don't even know what that is. And I think it was Megan Melick, actually. She's right there. And I just remember she was telling this story of how God had saved her from all these things that I had done literally the night before. Or I did them, and then I came to this meeting. And she was like, God saved me from all those things, and now I'm a Christian. And I was like, I'm a Christian? What are you talking about? You can do that. You can do that all you want. And so I realized that her life looked nothing like mine. And so that bothered me for a second, but I just put that in the back of my head. And I was like, just don't think about that again. Just don't think about that again. You're a Christian. Don't worry about it. But as I hung out with these guys more and more, the next week, the guy who brought me couldn't go. But for some reason, God just had got my heart a little bit, and I just had to hear another testimony. It was like a drug. It's like a drug that I had never had before. And I was like, I don't know what this thing is, but I got to go hear another one. And so I went in there. I didn't know anyone. So I remember standing behind the one guy I met the week before. It was so awkward. He would talk to somebody, and I'd just be in the background what's up? I met you last week, remember? And he'd be like, yeah, I know, we were talking about this 10 times. I'll be back here if you need me. And so I just remember this. I was like, guys, and then they started the meeting. I was like, yeah, testimony time. And I just listened to how God had just flipped somebody's life. And then after I've been a few of those, I was just like, man, I need to look into that. I didn't tell anybody. So that's not what you do in America. You're just a Christian. You don't talk about it. And so I was like, no one can know that I'm not a Christian. I'm just going to keep going. And I'll figure this thing out. I'll feel it out as I go. But we had this thing called Summer Beach Project, which is basically like a 2-month trip to the beach where you just study the Bible, learn how to share your faith with people. We live in a community of Christians for like 2 months. And somehow I got talked into that. I don't even know how. But I'm really bad at people pleasing. So these people like cornered me at one of these meetings. And they're like, what are you doing this summer? And I was like, I got to take classes. Don't worry about it. And they're like, do you really want to take physics this summer? And I was like, answer, no, do not. But I have to. And so they're like, dude, just come to the beach. And I was like, that sounds awesome. And they're like, do this. And I was like, that does not sound awesome. And I was like, and when I walked away, I was like, I just tell them something with the family is sick or something. It's easy. But anyways, they wouldn't leave me alone. And so I was like, if I go, maybe they'll shut up. And so somehow I ended up driving down there by myself. I was like, what am I doing with my life? And it didn't take me long when I was down there for 2 weeks to realize that my life didn't look anything like theirs. Like, they had this whole community where everyone loved each other and cared for each other and just worshiped God in everything that they did. And I was like, I don't know what's going on, but I want in on that. Like I can't even explain it. I was just like, I see that that's how I'm supposed to live, and I see how I haven't been living like that. And I was like, how can this change? And God just really showed me my sin, like everything that I do, every lie that I tell, every mean thought that I think, every time I make fun of someone, that's a sin. And before holy God, it's not going to happen. He's not going to stand for that. And so I was like, oh crap, like I'm wrong. Like God's not wrong anymore. Ashton's wrong. I have all this sin, and I see God on the other side. Like, how can I get back to Him? And then someone like just shared the gospel, and it was like the first time that I realized that why Jesus had to die. That you and I have accumulated all this sin, like more than you could even imagine. And God, like I just talked about, is like the perfect judge. And He's not going to judge us on the good that we've done, because He's going to do what a judge does. And He's going to judge you on the bad that you've done. Like the murderer doesn't walk into the courtroom and he's like, oh, I've been to Bible study. And he's like, oh, you have? Good, go. That's fine. But He's going to put him in jail because he killed somebody. And that was, I understood it. It just made sense. I was like, I'm going to jail. Like, I'm a sinner. I'm pissed off God, and it's ruined me. Like I'm not satisfied with this lifestyle anymore. I'm sick of it. It's not fulfilling me. What do I need to do? And someone just told me that you just have to trust that God sent His only Son, Jesus, to come live on this planet with us, a perfect life, and die the death that I was deserved. Does that even make sense? That I deserve? It is. It's like I made this debt, and I was going to have to pay it for eternity. But Jesus was like, no, I actually love them, so I'm going to go and get them. And I was just like, command me at that point. I was just like, I'm on my knees, like you can have me. If you would give up that for me, then I'm all in, And so, that was a year ago, and now I'm in South Africa. I'm a Christian now. I try to wake up every day and make that decision again. Like, God, I'm going to live for you today. I'm not going to let these other things creep in because they look great. But I've tried and I've been there and I've done that. But just because you're a Christian, it's not going to be like prancing through fields and butterflies and like picking flowers. Like, it's a struggle. It's a fight. And so like temptation's still there. Still fall into it sometimes, but I know that Jesus has picked me out of the crowd, and that makes me happy.